Yeah, we live, we lit. So the session that we're doing today, we're going live. I'm going live with my good friend Kobe. And what we've been able to establish being young black entrepreneurs is we found a way to be successful fairly early. Now we're going over certain things that we can help you guys with because the thing that we see repeatedly is that people don't understand how to make money in business, how
Mm-hmm.
to get started in business, confidence in business, just those little things. Because when you think of business, you think of this big grand thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we think of like, multinational corporations, Fortune 500 companies, but business is actually one of the most simple things that you could do once you get established and once you just started doing for a while. It just takes muscle. So, Kobe, let's start with the confidence aspect because I know that's what you want to start with. Like, what does it take to be confident in business? Before we start, tell them a little bit about your story. I'll tell them a little bit about mine.
All right. So for most of y'all that know me, I know I've been hustling for years. We used to do music back in the days. Tried music. I had a car lot, moving company. I didn't try a lot of different businesses. The most successful business that I had now is the trucking business though. Anybody that know me know that I'm the guru when it comes to the trucking, box trucks, semis, 18 wheelers, whatever you have it. But that's where my expertise is, and I feel like strategy is my game.
Right. That's super dope. And I've tried multiple businesses as well. Me and Kobe, we work together. We've known each other actually since fifth grade.
Yeah,
And the
very long
thing
time.
that we've had a connection with is we both were really intelligent, being very young, and we recognized our intelligence being very young. So the first key that I can even give y'all is if you want to make money, you have to be smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you or either, and I wouldn't even say smart, more intelligence. And then I'm saying intelligent from the aspect of being able to solve problems. Because if you're able to solve problems, you're going to make money. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care what you're doing. If you're able to solve problems, you're going to be able to make money. So I have a music background. I was one of the first people to ever put a hook on a beat on SoundClick. It changed, it innovated the game. We made a lot of money. I brought Kobe in and we worked together. We made a lot of money, and I'm pretty sure it helped start his thing. But actually, before that, we were selling CDs.
Yeah.
So
we was bootlegging in high school.
We were bootlegging CDs in high school.
So
that was actually the start of both of our business entrepreneurialism, because my dad just got locked up at the time, and we just needed an avenue just to be able to make money. So I made a killing. I know you made a killing.
So from a perspective thing, I don't know who all's watching from YouTube or whatever platform you guys are seeing us on, but the thing is, my perspective is I had a job for a long time.
Okay.
So I only been a full-time entrepreneur for like 4 years.
So look, let's start there. You've had a job. Most people who are starting to learn how to make money for themselves, because we are in a pandemic, how do they get out of that mindset or either transition from having a job and becoming an entrepreneur, or either making money for themselves or either side hustling? How do we build that confidence?
That's really key. Like me to leave my job, I had to be confident in what I was going to do next. So trucking was the thing that I felt. It's not like I hated driving, but I knew that I can make money doing it because it was the closest thing to that resembled the streets for me. Yeah. I'm like, okay, you get a truck, you get in the truck, you run a load. The concept is simple. That's why everybody's trying to get into it. It's a little harder to execute when you're looking at real numbers. But for me, that was enough for me to quit my job when I seen, I'm like, okay, I can make $10,000 a month and I'm only making $5,000 now. It's a no-brainer to me.
So when did you have your aha moment? Because we all have an aha moment in business. Because for me, when I first started a business, from the first CD, I was like, yo, I could sell CDs for $10 and it's not my music, or it's, you know what I mean?
Hold on, but you ain't let me tell them about your perspective though. So mine is a job.
Okay.
How long have you been an entrepreneur though?
I've been an entrepreneur probably about a decade, 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah. So
but I grew up in business. See, I think it's a little bit different for me because I grew up in businesses. Like my first job, I was 11 years old and I was working in my father's supermarket.
True.
You know what I mean? So I was interacting with
So
customers.
the upbringing you feel helped.
Yeah, helped a whole lot because that's the only thing that I really know.
And that's what you gave, and that's what gave you confidence.
That's why it gave me confidence because like I knew how to interact with customers and know how to sell them. I had to sell them. I had to do inventory. He took me with him to meet the distributors and buy candy and buy food. I had to learn marketing because we had to set up the shelves in a certain way because, you know, our level was by level. We knew that, you know, when somebody walked into the store, the thing that they seen first were the things that would buy first. They would buy first. So it was like it was strategy to business. So me learning that at 12 years old and 11 to 12 years old. And then a lot of times my father, he was hustling the street. So he would leave me there at the store with my cousins a lot of the time. So I was running the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you got the training,
education early.
Education early.
Yeah.
So early exposure to your kids would be good. So if you train them up in business, they won't have to go through, you know, us waiting to like I didn't wait. I got started at like 30. You know, at like 30 being an entrepreneur. Well, no, I had actually had a car lot at 23.
Yeah.
But I was back and forth in between failed businesses and going to go work a job, failed a business. So for the record, you know. And my confidence was a little shot, but I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and control my time and everything more than I wanted to work a job for somebody else.
You remember when you remember when you came over to the production company, I convinced you. It was like twisting his arm to come over because this time he was in the streets, right?
Yeah.
And what made you come over? I think that you had like lost everything.
Yeah. They either the police kicked us in and they took everything, the money.
I was trying to get him to work with me and my company for the longest. I was about 19 years old and I was like, bro, we can make money. I am making.
Hey, but I did make an investment though. I invested in the LLC, so I took some street money. So he got funded by dirty money.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all
I took street money for the LLC. So
but look, it took for him to lose everything for him to come over and work in the company. But the first thing that was needed was his confidence because he didn't believe that he would make money. He was just like, because he came to me, he was like, all these numbers, like, bro, if I could just make this, I'll be good. I say, bro, you gonna make money. It had got on my nerves, but it was just one of those things.
I wasn't confident. I wasn't confident. I don't care who brings me an idea. If I don't believe in the idea,
he had to see it.
Like I had to see it. Basically, I had to fall on my face, and pretty much it was a last resort. And I ended up making way more money than I was making in the streets. And I ain't have to worry about nothing else.
Yeah, but I think that it's one of those things that. So let's go back to transition out of business so we can help the people.
Gotcha.
So if somebody has a job and they're trying to build confidence, to you, like what is one of the first things that they need to do to exercise their confidence? Because it's kind of like building muscles, right?
I would say do the research. Research businesses. A lot of the times if you dig deep enough into something, you will be like, nah, I don't think that's something I want to do once you dig deep enough. A lot of stuff is just a good idea. You know, but for me, I had found that thing where I was working at the post office and the Amazon box truck drivers were delivering to the post office I was working at. So I just was like, since I was I had to start practicing this habit of having a positive mindset because I started to see more opportunities. So I just asked the dude, I'm like, hey, do you need a CDL to drive a box truck? I knew nothing about the game. He said, yeah. And he started to give me game. And I literally quit my job probably 2 weeks after encountering this guy in Atlanta at the Kennesaw post office. I quit my job at that point because he pretty much gave me the keys. He showed me where to go rent a box truck from. He hooked me up with some work. And I pretty much just quit my job. I ain't put in 2 weeks. I pretty much just quit like a few days later. After he showed me a couple of the checks that he had made. So I transitioned that way.
So basically what you're telling people that you had a mentor.
Something like that, yeah.
In a kind of a sense, you had a guide. So this is where
a mentor with an industry that I believe that I understood. You know what I'm saying?
Because you were already working at the post office, so you already understood.
Right. So I was already working with trucks. So I jumped off into what I had the most experience. I had most experience working at warehouses. So the business that I started, I'm most successful at is shipping. I mean, loading trucks and doing stuff that I was already doing. So it's not like I'm doing anything outside of what I was already doing in order to, to get it going.
So what you're basically saying is that we should make our businesses or kind of like our jobs a catalyst to our business because we already understand our jobs. So, you know what I mean? You found, like you said, you were already working in warehouses at the post office. You already understood businesses. So maybe use that as a transition to a business.
Yeah,
Maybe?
definitely, because a lot of people are working in fields where they doing certain things. Like, say for instance, if you working as like a graphic designer, or you working as something that where the skills that you using, you can actually see what you can do outside of it. I would say for a graphic designer, or somebody that's, let's say, doing any, like, especially like delivery drivers. Like, I mean, why would you, if you working at FedEx, why would you not go start a trucking company? Matter of fact, my cousin that worked at FedEx, I just was telling them, like, why don't y'all do trucking? Like, she's a dispatcher and he drive the truck. They got the company already right there. They like, it's a no-brainer to jump out there on a limb and do that, because you already got the experience doing that. So that's why I say the confidence starts with the competence and doing something that you're competent at already. You know, I didn't know about trucking exactly, but I understood the logistics.
Okay.
So I would say go with what you know first, and then you can get off into that passion and or those things that, like, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from going for their passion first, but I go for confidence first because it worked for me. I mean, I made my company did 3.5 million that last year with what I'm telling you. So I mean, it might not be the best game, but it worked for me.
Right. So I want to speak a little bit to, a little bit of my audience who are in the music industry, who don't treat this industry like a job. You know what I mean? I think earlier on, what we did right was when we started in music, we treated music like a job. It was a job to
business.
us. It was a job to us so much that a lot of times we woke up and we didn't love what we did, but we did it anyway because, it's what we had to do.
Yeah.
And we were making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing.
And it became a ladder, though.
It became a ladder, right?
It
So
became a ladder.
The thing is, a lot of times, and to my audience, is that you guys have to treat it seriously even before it starts to generate revenue.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do it when nobody's looking and when you're broke, you won't make it. Because a lot of the research takes a lot of time to be able to go and find the answer and find the blueprint and test the blueprint and invest in the tools that you need to make it. Like all,
and it's very hard to figure stuff out from the sideline too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can research all day, you can Google all day, you can we call it like analysis paralysis. You can sit up here and make these graphs and everything. Like you can do all of this stuff, but until you get in the game and see and bump your head a little bit, it's going to take that in order to get it. Because if anybody's given something that they didn't work for, or they didn't do anything, they typically lose it. Let's take the lottery, for instance. Why do everybody go broke from the lottery? Because anything that comes easy to you is easy come, easy go. So we got to learn, as anybody trying to aspire to be an entrepreneur, we got to look at it from an aspect of looking at it. I lost my fucking train of thought, but you got to look at it from a better perspective than just it being something that's going to come like easy, like overnight, because the bumps and the bruises, like, say for instance, I struggled my first 2 years in business. I literally only made $1,000 profit. So if you look at it on paper, though, it's going to say 175,000. But when I look at my profit and loss, I made all of that money out, but I put all of that money back out into the business.
Right.
So if you keep in mind and stick with something, the time that you're putting in, you got to think about your investment on your time more than money. Because if every action you do doesn't lead anywhere, then it's pretty much like pointless. So, like, say for instance, like Uber, like a lot of people do Uber. I feel like it's a complete waste of time, because you're doing one ride, right? So picture if you got a business, and see me, I look at business from a scaling point. If you do one ride on Uber and you make $20 and it take you let's say 20 minutes, that means for that 20 minutes, all you can earn is that $20. You see what I'm saying? So, but if you look at it from an aspect of, okay, if my $20, I end up making no money, but I learned a lesson that can make me an additional $100 for the next 5 days, that would have been a better way to spend 20 minutes than to do an Uber trip. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we got to have that competence yet, though. We're dealing with people who, like, they don't understand the value of knowledge. So let's talk about that next. The value of knowledge and the value of information.
Gotcha.
Because the average person would say, I need to take these rides to make this $20 in this 20 minutes because I have to do that. Like, that's what I have to do. I have to eat what I kill. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I have to do that because I don't have any other way. Like I'm not financially literate. So how do we make that jump from recognizing what's a waste of time and what we have to do versus like scaling even with your time? Because I always look at time investment.
Yeah.
Because now that I make money and I make hundreds of thousands of dollars and we making a lot of money, like now it's like time investment. So it's like you could want to pay me $150 an hour, but that's like I'll make more money doing something else.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like how do people get competent in time investment?
I would say like for me, I'm gonna say like I would do it from an aspect of research because if I teach you scale and you come at business looking at it like don't come at business looking like it's like a job.
All right.
You know, the confidence is going to be knowing the numbers. Like me, I knew when I was coming in, I was going to have multiple trucks, which means that I was going to be making money in my sleep.
Right.
That's enough to get you going. That's enough to be like, okay, cool. But if you're going to go in and just really own a job, that's really not really owning a business. So that's why my take is always going to be a little different when it comes to that. Even as somebody coming into business, had I known that, I would have tried to scale and I would have looked at it broader from a broader view in the beginning.
Right.
You know, so I would say think about scaling through, think about everything times 10. You know, it might look like, okay, if you're looking at this business, as you say, you're looking at going into trucking, for instance. So a lot of people like, how much you making per truck? So to some people, $1,000 for that one truck for that 1 week is just not enough money.
Right.
You know, but me, from my perspective, I look at it like, okay, what if I had 10 of those?
Right.
You know, now that's 10,000 a week. So even if that one truck is not, I'm not looking at it from a piece by piece product. We looking at volume. We looking at Coca-Cola as $1 billion company from selling 50-cent sodas. Right. So I want them to stretch their minds to think about, you know.
So I agree with you. I don't think that people think big enough.
Exactly.
You know, even in like the music industry, people want record deals. Record deal is a job. I don't care how much they pay you. That's a job. Yeah. If somebody has to tell you to go be in California, go be in Tokyo, go be in Seattle, Washington, or Portland tomorrow, you know what I mean? They own your time. I think that we got into business to own our own time.
Yeah.
So if we can own our own time, then we can really change the perspective of how much money that we can make in a certain amount of time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think that's one of the most important things. So owning your time. But how do we do that when people got jobs and obligations and we got, you know, wives and girlfriends and kids?
You start building while you at work. You start to look for the way out while you there. You start to like
that's incredible.
I actually like businesses like, I would say like a good first business is like a cleaning company or like service businesses. Because when the service business, it's a lower startup because you're providing a service. If you start a cleaning company, you'll get some Clorox, couple of mops, you know, maybe $250 to get you going. You can get started with $250. You could do that when you get off of work. Yeah. Somebody's working a 9 to 5. They could go start a cleaning company, clean offices after they get off of work.
Right.
So now they can start building contracts. They can even start hiring people while they still got a job.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's low startup cost, easy concept to get. And you pretty much could do that while you're working. Yes. You know, or just look for things that you could do on the side, like a real estate, like becoming like a real estate agent, or if you in like the Georgia area or like Atlanta and certain places like Alabama, places like that, those type of places allow you to get a dealer's license with just having an office.
Right.
You know, so that way you could sell cars on the side. Right. So you also can look at a side hustle. For a lot of people has become a main hustle. I think that's a good point of, you know, a reference.
I think one of the main things that we have to elaborate to, that we have to just speak on is that you don't need a business license to start in business. The government literally doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, as long as you pay your taxes.
As long as you pay your taxes, they do not care. You might pay the highest amount in taxes if it ends up being a really good business. But you know what I mean? Like, test the market. I feel like that if you're going to start anything, especially with musicians, y'all listen up. Start selling your music. If you have a product or service, start doing that. Test the market to see if it's a good idea first. Because you don't want to invest all in on a business that is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where I lost the most at. It's like trying an idea and going full scale into it before even testing the market. Like, I should have did it a little bit first.
Exactly.
You know what
exactly. And that's the thing. So that's why
something.
I say just start with small things, because I failed at probably 5 businesses before, you know, success.
Yeah.
So I would like to want to stay on topic with what we was coming to tell y'all about. So we covered confidence. The next thing we want to talk about is a lot of people what is the big problem for them? Initial capital.
Money, right.
So money is a huge thing. How am I going to start a business if I don't have money?
Right. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think that the first thing that we have to realize what capital is. To me, capital can be a lot of things. I think your attention is capital.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What we focus on a daily basis is capital, because there's a lot of times that we can find middle ground with certain investments or middle ground with certain things that we like to do. Or we could be the middleman between a transaction and make money from not having to invest any initial capital.
So that would suggest that the key capital you need is know-how.
Yeah, know-how.
Know-how is the real money. A lot of people, why do you think investors invest in businesses? Like while somebody got an idea, they go look for an investor. Investor's going to invest in their idea. You get what I'm saying? So the because they don't have the know-how to do their business themselves. They just have the money to do it. So if you have the know-how, that just means the broker you are, the more know-how you got to have.
Yeah.
Skills
are ATMs.
Because skills are ATMs. Like if I can't do something, like I can't edit videos that good, so I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to outsource this video when I start to do like my YouTubes and everything. I'm gonna have to outsource it because it's something I don't know how to do. Yeah. So if you don't have any money, but $200 to get some editing software, you can now become you will be my first customer for editing my video, because it's very time consuming. And I don't really have time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say keep in mind that know-how is the number one thing.
We have to recognize that skills are so important, because especially when people become businessmen and we don't have time, because your skills become more important than the money that I have to give you. You know, that's the biggest thing. Like I would spend any amount of money to get this problem off of my back. The bigger the problem. So if you solve big problems and you have skills for big problems, you're gonna make a lot of money. Because I'm not editing this video.
Yeah, yes, that's why I would rather do lives. I'll fuck up live and just be like, hey, it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
So it's just like, get this problem out of my way. What are you charging? So if we can find somebody who could do it very quick, who's very competent, who could do it at a pace that we can, but that turnaround is important. So we will pay for it. So that's what we have to look for it. So
without a doubt,
build your confidence there, knowing that your skills can provide you the initial investment. But we could tell you other things like going to ask family and friends, but ultimately this business is yours. Yeah. And then you don't want to ruin your relationships. I don't like, even though I have gone to family for initial capital, I generally don't like doing that.
Nah.
Because you ruin relationships.
There's pressure too, though. So you're putting pressure on yourself when you go, because now when you got investors and you got other people that's coming in, now it's like now they can kind of try to dictate how you run your business.
Right. They do have say so, because money does want an opinion.
Yeah, so money is very powerful. So it kind of puts it kind of changes the way then you start doing stuff to make sure you pay them and get them off your back, and you might lose sight of the actual mission that your business was really set out for.
I mean, and it might even change the perspective of your business.
The whole perspective of your business, because now you're trying to get them because now the whole thing is now I got to pay them back. Yeah. So I mean, it puts a strain hold on you, doing it. So that's why I say start with things that service industries if you don't have money, and just like understand the know-how. Like if there's companies right now, there's people right now that are starting in trucking, right, with no truck doing dispatch. They just doing dispatch, and they found a bunch of lazy truckers. I wouldn't call them lazy. Let's just say they on the road. They don't want to find their own load. So they're willing to pay them 10%. They don't have a certificate. They don't have nothing but the laptop computer that people watching on Facebook, that people using to watch this live, or a cell phone. And they able to go on here and book these loads for these drivers with they credentials. Right. So if there's a whole thing created in the trucking industry behind people not having a truck or no money to get started or any certifications. Wow. So.
And that's amazing, because people, like I said, people will be willing to invest in things that they don't know. So it's just like, okay, I'll do anything. Just find me to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what connects us all. It's like everybody needs something that somebody else doesn't know how to do. I'm trying to find a way to make my life as easy as possible. I think that's what we're all trying to do, is live easy lives. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you're going to develop those muscles in business, you got to be willing to take on have multiple skills, I believe,
Mhm.
and be able to work long hours to create that initial capital.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, at the end of the day, money is hard to make if you don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I would tell people initial capital. I mean, credit is a big thing. If you can't, I've always at some point until now had more credit than I had money in the bank.
Okay.
So I would say that a good way is to, okay, you want to work on that capital, start building your credit. Go to a credit repair program, or you get what I'm saying, and start to build that up. Because say if you get a $15,000 credit card, but you only got $1,000 in the bank, now you can leverage credit. That's what credit is actually supposed to be used for. Credit is supposed to be used for leverage, not luxury. You know, you're not supposed to be going to go buy TVs on your credit card. Right. You're supposed to take this 10,000 or whatever that somebody's giving you, figure out a way to flip it, get them their money back. Now you got 10,000. Right. That's the ideology that we got to use when we thinking credit, you know, too. So that's initial capital. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, look, before we take questions, I want to give them two pieces of advice, or one great piece of advice that's going to change everything. I did this and I scaled my company, right? I don't care if you have a job. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you're doing. If you do this, you're going to make money. It's the start of you making money. Take a notepad, right? Mm-hmm. And write down everything you do with your time, and write down all of your expenses.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Write it in a notebook too. Because once you see where you're losing money at, and where the money is bleeding, you're going to track down because at the end of the
profit
day,
and loss.
All of my friends who have made money, they track their money like a hawk. Mm-hmm. Most of them. Some people just make money.
Yeah, it just depends on, you know, how fat your bag is. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I think get the big bag, then you can do that.
Right,
you know?
Right. But even if you're starting with a job, now you'll be surprised all of the little things that we spend money on. You're going to learn budgeting. Mm-hmm. Because you need those habits even before, I think, that even building credit, because it takes habit to build good credit. Because, like, you know how hard it is to pay somebody on time every month if it's not set to like auto pay.
Yeah, and habit is the habit is the third thing that we want to cover. Habit is everything. Like he said, like creating the habit to spend less than what you earn. You know, I mean, we gotta, mostly everybody's spending it before it's gone, so you never even have the money to invest.
All right, so look,
because it's spent.
I keep it real with me, right? How do you think that we created those habits to become successful? Like, how do you think
desperation? I mean, when you run out of ideas, when you figure out that it's not working, like everybody that'll watch this video, or that wants coaching, or they want anything, they pretty much sick and tired of what's going on. Yeah. With their life, so they pretty much know. So you got to be desperate enough and want to change enough to start changing those habits, because successful people, they just have certain habits. Like I maybe watch TV like once every 2 weeks. Okay. You know, if that. Sometimes I don't watch TV all month, but some people sit up and binge watch, you know, like shows. I'm not knocking whatever you do, but it just depends on what level. You got to give up something.
Okay, so
you know,
let's
it has to be a sacrifice.
Let's be very specific with the people, right? What are some must-dos? Like, what are some must-dos every day for you? I'll give them some, and I want you to give them some. For me, I have to get up, and I got to do the affirmations. I got to hit the gym for at least 15 minutes. That's a minimum. I have to have a salad every day. Like, it's because at the end of the day, if I'm not healthy, I can't hustle.
Right.
I can't be in business. I got to have a smoothie. Like, it's a non-compromising thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because everything starts with your mind. And then, like, I have to track my work. You know what I mean? I got to be able to write down, because then I'll go back and I'll create what we call like a report card every week. And I'll say, man, I lost this. I only recorded this many hours. Yeah. I worked on the business infrastructure this many hours. Then I'll be able to grade myself.
You have to track progress, though. Yeah. I mean, you got to write it down, because that's why I got that big board right there.
Right.
To really keep track of what you're doing. Like how can you grow if you're not tracking? Like, if you're not like, okay, this week I spent $500 on eating out. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, if you're not looking at it like, dang, okay, maybe I need to cut back, you can't make the adjustments. And that's pretty much really what it's all about. You know, you have to make adjustments. So successful habits for me during the day, like I'm not a big gym person. I do eat healthy,
Okay.
but for me, planning my night, the most crucial thing I do is planning my day the night before.
Okay. I'm gonna write that down.
That's the
because I don't do that. I don't
me.
do that. I just plan it in the morning.
Yeah, or either in the morning. I either take the last 15 minutes before I go to sleep, or the first 15 minutes in the morning to plan my day.
I'm gonna try that.
So with doing that, I set the tone for the day.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I do a to-do list every day, and I grade everything by importance. I do the most important things first. Right. So just in case I get a phone call or the truck broke down or this happened, I won't be leaving. I listed A, B, and C. You get what I'm saying? So the A's got to get done first. You don't want a thing to roll over to the next day.
Right.
You want a C thing is something that could wait till tomorrow. But if I got time, I'll get it done today. So planning the day, planning the week, planning the year is, to me, the greatest habit that I have is strategically planning. Because like I said, for me, strategy is everything.
Right.
How I'm going to attack the day.
But like we live in such a time that people just don't have no discipline. Like how do you know what I mean? Like how do we structure that discipline? Like I gave them tracking, you gave them planning, but how do we execute that when we have so many distractions? Like these are the main things, because that's why I tell people to guard up their attention. You have to guard up your attention. How do we narrowly focus our attention to be able to get one of those things done on the list? Because I know people who just like, yo, bro, I just can't lose weight, bro.
Yeah.
I just can't, man, I can't start a business.
If you list it, it's something about writing the stuff down, goals, everything. If you write it down, it makes it more firm. Yeah. Like having a list in your head don't really count. And I don't even like having it in my phone. Somewhere to be good, but I even take from my phone to put it on paper because I get to scratch it out. To me, it feels good. I feel like it's one accomplishment, even if it was call the IRS and tell them we want to make a payment plan, or even if it's something so small, but it feels good, like I'm making progress because I'm getting something done. If you're tracking what you're doing, it gives you more confidence and more boost to keep going along the day because you feel like you're getting something done. Right. It's nothing like feel like you just going around your day. You don't have a list. You just basically being reactive to life. So anything that happens, you just reacting to it. You got to be proactive. You got to control the day. Yeah, that's really, to me, the top habit. For me, you have to own the day and control it, especially if you got a job. Yeah. A lot of people I know have jobs and they're trying to transition out. They're making good money on the side, but they really have to control their day in order, to make sure that when you get off of that 9 to 5, you got to make time for yourself, for your own business.
Isn't it crazy too how jobs want the prime of your day? Like 9 to 5 is your most productive time. Like, I'm going to give somebody 40 years of that? Like, you're crazy? You'll never be able to build anything great just giving somebody just that for 40 years. We have to transition out of that. Nah. So, like, we gotta get, so from 6 to 11, it's got to be work. Like, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. The thing is, you only going to be able to make good decisions, like so many good decisions in a day. Yeah. So I wouldn't ever want to get up and the first thing I'd be doing is going to work, because then I'm giving my business the most tired time of the day. I'm not saying everybody first shift go switch to second shift. Yeah. I'm just saying, though, when you wake up in the morning, for me, some people work really good late at night. For me, waking up in the morning, I'm my freshest and I come up with the best ideas when I'm fresh in the morning. That's why I save all of the toughest tasks for the morning.
I never knock anybody for having a job, right? I love people having the ability to work, but I think we need more entrepreneurs, because sometimes having a job could tell me that you don't trust your own vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you work my job, that's my vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm King Tut in this mug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I make all the calls I am. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's just like, to give somebody 40 years of like your sweat equity to their vision and not being able to trust yourself, like at least you got to at least have a side hustle or something. You got to be able to have a side hustle and to trust yourself somewhat where you can execute on your own ideas. Mm-hmm. We know it's scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know it takes time, and you need those muscles to become an entrepreneur, because it's like a sport. Because once you get good at it, you're going to start comparing yourself to other entrepreneurs. Be like, how's my company doing versus such and such company doing?
Yeah.
How's my music doing versus such and such music? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just like, if things get competitive, remember, look, you guys, we're in a sport. Entrepreneurialism is a sport. You got to be in shape to do this. You got to be financially astute. You got to be
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of things.
Yeah, you know
you
what I
got to
mean?
do. But I want to open the floor for questions because we only got our fourth thing. But before we get to the fourth thing, do anybody got any questions?
Yeah. So if y'all have questions, even on IG, let your boy know. And
Any questions? Because I can't see the
we can't see the Facebook.
Just let me know if they because I can't really see them.
I can't say anything either.
Say it's live. So let's see.
I can't say anything either. How differently did it feel when like you finally had that like explosion in income and you were able to do like some of the things that you wanted to do? How differently did it feel?
All right. Yeah, so I don't see
that
any questions coming in, so I'm gonna answer your question. So your question was what again?
Like, how do you like when you finally get to that point where you make it, like, or quote unquote make it, right? And to me, making it is like I'm able to pay my bills and do some of the things that I've been wanting to do, not just need to do, like just pay my bills. So for me, like, remember when we had moved out to a rich neighborhood, a wealthy neighborhood. Like how did it feel for you when you finally like crossed over to that transition where you owned your time and you were able to make some of the decisions where you had more bread coming in, like you didn't have to rely. If I could take a whole year off if I want to. Like how did that feel?
I mean, it just feels different because you can move different and you start to see life differently. Certain things that start to come more important. So like for me, teaching is more important now because I realized like, okay, when I got my first 100,000, I just was like, this doesn't feel like I thought it would feel. Like I thought I would feel like so different. The only thing it is just relieve. It did relieve the stress. It did relieve the stress of like, okay, now I ain't got to worry about my bills. I know I can pay them up for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I'm good now. But at the same time, it made me realize I gotta go for a stronger purpose. So that's why I say start with something you're confident in, but you're gonna have to get back to that passion because the money's not gonna be enough. It's only gonna be able to hold you for so long.
So how did you not become complacent? Like, because for me, it's like I always try to find more energy, or either another problem to solve. Like I think that's my thing. Because I actually became depressed.
You got a question over there too.
Became depressed. Like not solving problems. At what level did you say you had a job and was starting your business that you could leave your job? That's a good question.
Okay, so what was the question, so everybody here?
At what level would you say if you had a job and was starting your business that you could leave your job? So basically, we're trying to, at what transition point that you feel like it was cool to leave your job and like do your business full time?
Okay, well, I guess I don't ever remember him having a job, so I guess I'll take this question.
Yeah, you got to.
So I felt when I had my credit good enough to where I'm like, okay, I got 20,000 in the bank because I was working 6 days a week at the post office, and I'm like, I got 20. I probably had like 30, maybe 30 or 40,000 in credit. When I was at that point, I felt like as long as I could pay my rent up, as long as I got my emergency stash to where, I felt like I was good. I was like, I could quit and just try it, because the one thing that I realized about a job, I've never had a problem getting a job. So considering that I know that I can get a job again, that makes it easy for me to leave it, because I know what's the worst case, my worst. I challenge everybody to think of your worst case scenario. That's basically how I make all my decisions. If I go into this trucking company and lose everything I got, what is the worst case scenario going to be? The worst case scenario for me would be going back and going to go get another job. Let me go find something to pay me like $20 an hour or something like that, work me some overtime, maybe work 2 jobs or whatever to get. That's my worst case scenario. I survived. I was driving an Escalade working a job before I ever had any money or ever been. I had 2 Escalades before I ever had a job. So it's more in like, you just basically feeling the confidence in yourself to do it, but get your credit up so you can, like I said, I feel like you got to be willing to go for broke. If I got $20,000 on the credit card and my rent is $1,000 a month, I'm looking at 20 months right there.
See, and I think
you know what I'm saying.
That's something that I can learn from you. So right? This is something that I can learn from you, because I don't give a shit about credit. You know what I mean?
Nah.
And I'm on
Credit.
the opposite ladder. Cause look, here's my thing. Credit don't mean nothing if you don't got cash flow. Cause what's a good idea if I can't pay it back? Like, cause I remember at certain points, I know people with amazing credit, they just don't have no money. One of my friends, he just got a $200,000 loan, 580 credit, but the bank was just able to get him a loan because he has cash flow coming in. He got like 50,000 coming in every month. So like, to me, I'm like, it made me want to develop those muscles where it's like, yo, you gotta have cash flow because your credit, you're not relying on it. Like, but I'm heavy.
You need
I'm starting
both,
to get it. Like, because
I
see,
it.
I'm starting to see you become a Power Ranger, the ultimate Power Ranger.
Hey, literally.
Like,
hey, look, man. I had $80,000 worth of credit. I ran through the whole 80,000 trying to save my business. So when I first, but I had kept building it. I had like 40 when I first started my business. I kept filling out for more credit cards because I knew that I needed more for my business.
Okay, so we got another question.
Okay.
We're transitioning.
Hold on, real quick. We got another question from Facebook, real quick. Hold on.
Okay, we'll answer yours in the second round.
What's the question? How do you prepare financially for the jump?
Oh, that's a good question.
Hey, I would just, like I said, I mean, I kind of just broke down the financial thing. To get to prepare yourself to jump, only you know what your bills is. To me, my risk factor, I take a lot of risks. If I got, like I said, if my bills is $1,000, let's say $1,000 is a pretty, decent amount. So let's say we had $1,000 just for easier math. If I got $12,000 and I can pay my rent up for the next year.
Okay.
So that means I'm eliminating my biggest bill. If I have the ability, if I have a side hustle that can take away my biggest bill, you're ready for the jump. Because it's really, just think about it. Picture if you eliminated, all right, let's say for instance, if you eliminated your car note and your rent. Let's say your car note $400 and your rent is $1,000. So if you was able to make that on the side and you was able to cover your biggest bills and you had $10,000 on a credit card, wouldn't it be worth to take the risk at that point? Because it's at least paying your two biggest bills. So let the credit cards pay off the little, make the minimum payments. Let that be the thing if that's what it has to be. But it all depends on how bad you want it. I wanted out of a job bad enough to where I was willing to be like, look, if I run out of money, I got credit. If I run out of credit, I'm gonna go back and get a job.
Get some money.
That's it. So I mean, that's it. It's the cycle. If you fail, you're gonna go back to where you started. It's not like, that's why I don't understand why people can't get it. It's like it's a job. It's plenty of jobs out here. Well, for me, let me say,
not plenty of jobs out here right now. Let's.
Well, okay.
We're in a different kind of time. It was plenty of jobs.
I know.
Okay, so that
are still getting employed right now.
Okay, but look, that's not most of us. Now look, they say that almost 50% of the jobs in this country are going to go away or already have went away. Now, I think that's why it's important for us to do this live stream to tell people how to create their own circumstance if they can't find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's give some of the
is even more of a reason to become an entrepreneur then, because it's getting scary. Because like I said, somebody could just I just had to make some shifts around in my business to make more sense for me. And of course, the employees never understand the employer's point of view. You will never see eye to eye with the person that's running the company because you don't understand the expenses. It's never going to be something like where you're like, oh my God, I really understand. I really like how this company is flowing. Some people, maybe 10% people do, but you never really going to understand that point of view.
Okay, so what if you're in a business, right? Let's say you're in a business and you're degreed in something that's no longer popping because we're in a pandemic.
You got to be flexible, which is the number one thing you got to be as an entrepreneur.
Looking for an exit when you have the job, because I think that the people who are affected the most were those people in the pandemic where you had a lot of experience in one area that was making you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now you don't. Now that thing is not in demand, and you out of a job, and you really don't have no skills and nothing else.
But I guess for me, I never everything I've ever done, I look for an exit strategy. I don't care if I'm making $18 an hour. While I'm working there, I'm trying to look for 20. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always looking for the next level.
Right.
I'm never content when it comes to that. So I'm always looking. When I first got in my business, I already got an exit strategy. I'm building it up. So one day, if somebody want to come and sell and give me a couple $1 million for it, cool. When I'm ready to walk away, I'm always ready to go.
Do you think that we've become like a country that's like too arrogant to do the small jobs? Because
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I
'Cause
believe so.
I think that we're going to have to hustle to, do the smaller things to make it make sense. Like, Coca-Cola being a $1 billion company at 75 cents a can,
Uh-huh.
it don't sound it sounds amazing, but until you're selling each can for 75 cents, that's when it sounds like, yo, bro, this sounds like nonsense. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So,
because
but I think
you
that
selling
people are
them
afraid to
because
scrap.
you selling them by the thousand. You selling them at value.
So let's take this
Take
question.
that question real quick.
Will
Yeah.
transitioning to a part-time job from a full-time job be cool while you're building while building the business?
You mean transitioning from full time to part time or part time to full time?
Will transition to a part-time job. You said will transitioning to a part-time
To
job
a part time job
from
a
a full-time job be cool while building this
I
business?
definitely would not suggest anybody to do what I did. It was very stupid, to do it. I'll probably do it again, but it was a I wouldn't say it was a stupid move to just go jump and quit my job, but that's how much confidence I had in my ability to feed my family. Like I knew that I would work. I knew that I would make it work. Mm-hmm. So I would say if I could have kept it on the side, I would have, but it was the type of job I had that I couldn't do it. Right. I wasn't able to do it. So yeah, I would tell you to definitely keep your job for as long as you can. Just make sure that you start building. I'm not telling anybody by any means to go in and clock in tomorrow and quit. I worked jobs for years. I worked at the post office for 4 years before I started my transportation company. I am just saying that, downsize, I like that idea. That's the right idea. Let me go to part-time so I can spend more time building my business. Let me keep the security and these little benefits right here. Let me do just enough to keep from getting fired or something like that while I'm over here building this thing up. I'm not, because the one thing you don't want to do is put yourself under a whole lot of unnecessary stress. If you take the leap too fast, now you're going to be back to square one because you're going to panic and then you're going to quit. So it's not going to be any good. So now you're going to be back to square one.
We know what kills me? Like a lot of times when people start businesses, they expect to make money right away. Why is that? Because at the end of the day, why are you willing to go to college for 4, 6, 8 years and be willing to not get paid none of them years and then run up $80,000, $100,000 worth of debt and be smiling about it, smiling for the piece of paper after you're done?
That's crazy. Because see, that was my ideology. I felt that if I had $40,000 in credit, this is me going to school right here.
Yeah.
Either way, you got to pay the money back. I just looked at credit the same way. I looked at it like I'm gonna pay. Like how people get them little grants from college and they take it and they pay they dorm. That's the same. That was my mentality. I'm like, except I'm going to college in the game.
Yeah.
So that's why I was able to take the jump. I'm like, I'm going to college on business full time, and I'm gonna let my credit. The worst case scenario, if I got $40,000 in credit, that'll hold me over for a while. Yeah. Can I make these minimum payments? Yes. You ask yourself qualifying questions. Yeah. Before you take the jump.
Okay, so one of my friends, John Lewis, amazing real estate guru, right? He brought up a good point, right? Talking about independent contractors, futures of the workforce, and competing with artificial intelligence. How do we do that? We know we got competition with robots because I think that people are just initially lazy. People always want to find a better, easier, more cheaper way to do it because I think this country is built off cheap labor. So we're going to have to compete with robots and artificial intelligence. What can we do now to...
Let me grab you this charger.
What can we do now to kind of arm ourselves with the aspect of competing with artificial intelligence? Even in music, right? A kid had sent me a beat made from artificial intelligence. He was like, check out this beat. And I know producers on YouTube making $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 a month. Like, what is going to happen to that income once artificial intelligence starts writing songs or making beats or mixing records? Because we already have artificial intelligence mastering records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How are we going to be able to compete with those things? So I think that we have to be able to safeguard ourselves and our families, because why do we need people on the planet if we got robots doing the job? We only need a small group of people, and those are just going to be the rich.
And that's why I'm saying that's why it's even more. Even every point goes to the same thing of saying that's why you need to create your own avenue. So so when you wake up in the morning, the main thing why I left the job is because I felt like I want to get paid for my effort. Okay. Because I worked at a spot where at the post office where I'm getting paid $17, $18 an hour. It's another person that's standing next to me getting paid $30 an hour. We doing the same job, but they got seniority over me. So I'm really doing most of the work. And I'm like, I want to get paid for effort. That's what the true thing in entrepreneurship. Anybody who wants to get paid for their amount of effort wants to be an entrepreneur. Anybody who just wants to kind of skate by and just get a check for the least amount of effort, then those would be the people that should keep a job, because an entrepreneur, you're going to get paid for your effort. So if you lazy and you don't put the work in, you won't see the results. It's not like a company that has a system that you just a part of that system. Yeah. When you become an entrepreneur, you become the person creating the system. Yeah. So you have to be a person that's down for the work, and you got to be a person that's willing to build, because it's going to take building. Like I said, the first 2 years in business, I made $1,000 profit. Once after everything was said and done, I was negative 13,000, negative 17,000 some months, because I didn't understand the numbers. But had I never got into the game, I couldn't even be telling you this, because I would have never learned it had I never done it. Now, I wish I would have probably did a little more research, but either way, I learned it, you know. Yeah. So the only way truly to learn it and truly to figure it out is to do it.
So how do we scale back? Like, I mean, a lot of times when we get into business, we have to live below our means. Like, you know what I mean? Because if we look at the numbers, even me, I was just looking at some numbers today. I was like, man, I'm paying all of this for what? Like, you know, a lot of the same things, a lot of the same services, but some of them are investments, because I'm trying to figure out what system works for me best. So initially, I'll invest a lot just to find out what works and what doesn't work. You know what I mean? That investment in not only just capital, but just my intention in trying things out will let me know, like, yo, go forward with this. But like you said, just looking at the numbers. Yeah. Like just taking a hard look.
Numbers do lie, because people look at gross numbers and they not really like me. I was like, oh, here's a $70,000 contract, you know, but at the same time, this $70,000 contract, I'm really going to make $10,000 this year. Because 60,000 of it is going to go to my truck, to miles, to gas, and all of this stuff. So we really got to look at that's one thing before you get into a business. Know what that business is going to cost to even get started. If you're trying to sell a hair weave or whatever, I know a lot of girls are selling like people selling clothes, people were selling, you know, selling cars, or, you know, selling anything, or even providing a service. What is it going to cost you? Because that's what's going to determine which business that you really could pick based on the amount of money you got in the bank, or credit you got, or funding that you have. So really look at the cost, look at the real numbers. Like, okay, damn, like we want to start a restaurant. We like, okay, you know, how much is this juice? How many apples is it going to take for us to sell this fruit juice? If it's going to take 5 apples to make one serving, and these apples cost $1 a piece, that means we know we got to at least sell the drink for what, $10. Do we think people are going to buy the drink for $10?
And it's perishable too. So
right. And it don't last. So you got to ask yourself these questions, like, what is the cost going to be? What is my overhead going to be? Compare 2 or 3 different ideas you got and see which ones you can make sense by cost.
I remember running a studio. You remember I ran a studio downtown Atlanta. And that was a good business, making $100,000 a year. One thing about it is, to me, it was a bad business, because eventually I knew that if I had to scale, I couldn't beat her. But a lot of people, I was the business. You know what I mean? Right. It's like people came for the studio for me, for my services, for my expertise, and me trying to leverage myself out of that business. I was bringing in other engineers that people didn't want to work with. It's like going to a barber. Like, once you got your guy, it's like, yo, bro, you my guy. Like, I have artists quit because, like, yo, you're not engineering me, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we have to understand, like, you know, some businesses just work because it's us.
Yeah. You know, but also understand that it's different types of entrepreneur and business people. Some people might want to be. It's okay to be the lady that owns the cake shop, that works at the cake shop every day. You know, she opens and closes it. I'm just a person of scale.
Yeah, I'm scaled.
You know, because I haven't found that thing. Like, my business of choice would be motivating and teaching. Right. That's what I would do myself. Right. Anything else, I'm trying to scale because I'm passionate about teaching people, and I'm passionate about, like, speaking, about motivating people. So that would be something, that would be the business that I would choose to actually do myself. If you make cakes, don't think that you got to scale and get Becky and them to come in your shop and you know, and make cakes for you. If that's not what you want to do, you don't have to think about owning 10 cake places either at the same time.
Right.
You could just be that person that just got that one little business that got things that you control, and you just understand it that way.
Right.
That's okay to do that. You don't have to be a big business, because your lifestyle and what my lifestyle is completely different from what his lifestyle is. So don't think that I'm saying be big. It's just me. I picture myself making money in my sleep, and in order to do that, I have to scale my business to the point where I think everything, like Grant Cardone say, like 10x. I have to scale everything times 10 to be able to afford, somebody to hire a manager and hire somebody to do that.
So let's get to the last piece of what we initially came to. I hope y'all been, taking a lot from this conversation and getting a lot of good game, because, business is hard. Making money ain't an easy thing until you learn how to do it. Once you learn how to do it, then it becomes second nature. But initially, starting a business or making your own money should be imperative, because we live in certain times that, like, I've never seen so many people have so many conversations or harsh conversations because the government aren't willing to cut us $600 checks. People are really sweating it. So to me, I feel like if we're worried about $600 checks and $200 checks and $2,000 checks, we got to learn how to make some money. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to make some money.
We're in trouble if you're waiting on that stimmy.
If you're waiting on that stimulus check, because the last stimulus check, which means we've made about $2.10 since the last one, from the $1,200 to the $600. We couldn't survive off that.
Nah.
If somebody were to give you $2.10 a day, we couldn't. A lot of us couldn't survive.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna do?
So the last point of emphasis is this number. The fourth thing that I would say to consider before even getting into a business, or if you're in a business, because a lot of people hit me with questions about, what do I do? How do I choose the business? So you go from confidence,
right,
from what you're confident in,
right,
to figuring out what you got enough money to do,
right,
to figure out which habits you want to create, because the certain type of business you're gonna be in, some things you might, like me, I want to get to a business that is not during the nights. You see what I'm saying? Because my truck's running at night, that's robbing me in my sleep. So I would go for my new business to be something that's during the day, so I don't have to have the habit of getting up and breaking my sleep. Yeah. So you have to consider what type of habits that industry brings, and are you willing to conform to those habits that particular industry brings? That's going to be a key deciding factor. I think support.
I think that's really brilliant to bring up too, because I had gotten to a point in music where I didn't want to do late night sessions at 3:00 in the morning. I didn't like that anymore. I got a family. I got to a point, I was like, man, I actually need some sleep. And I didn't really think that was important. But I think that generally men are built for work. So, we can live off less sleep. But I went 10 years living off 4 hours of sleep.
Nah, that's successful. I mean, but that was the game. Remember, we used to glorify the no sleep game.
Yeah, we used to glorify that.
Like, we used to actually glorify it, and niggas getting water poured in their face.
Yeah,
or whatever, or niggas just playing with you, putting you on Facebook or whatever. Like, look at them sleeping. We in the studio grinding, he's sleeping. So we used to pride ourselves off being unhealthy.
I think that if we would have had mentors, like we had mentors to show us, somebody who show us like specifically how to make the money, we could have been a lot sharper. We could have got more sleep, and we'd have been a lot sharper.
Yeah.
For the tax that we was trying to like handle.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that's why we trying to create the ladder here, because, like, picture trying to be the first person in your family that's making, the type of money that you're making, or the first person that or the first 2 or 3 people that It's kind of like you have a very small group of people that you can call upon for advice.
Yeah.
But everybody wants you to give advice, but hell, you need advice too, because I'm in what he would call a blue ocean. Like, shit, I've never been here before. I've never had this much money before. I've never had this much success before.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure out how I got here. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, I know it was habits, but but let's hit on the support. So I want to lead off with support, because you got to figure out who's going to help you do whatever business you're going to do. Yeah. Case in point, if you have the cake thing, or you're going to have somebody to help you prepping the cakes, or you're going to have somebody there, to clean the place for you, or you're going to be doing it all yourself. Who's going to be involved? Who's going to be your team that you're coming in with?
Yeah.
That's something to consider.
I generally feel like for support that we have to look at it from a point of selfishness, right? Not us being selfish, but other people being selfish. What's in it for them? You know, man, I feel like especially with musicians, we want people to support us without having to do anything, right? So I bring you an idea. I say, hey, look at my idea, support my idea, even though it hasn't done anything for you or nobody, or I haven't even had any accolades or successes with it. Right. Support it just blindly.
Yeah.
Even though and then I might not even have a track record of doing something else successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how do we get to that point? And I had to just break it down to people. It's like, look, if you want support, you're going to have to not only work for it, but pay it forward. And sometimes you might overpay for the support that you receive initially in the beginning. Yeah. And you can't complain about it because a lot of times that education is very, very expensive. Like if I need a assistant to come over and I can't afford it, but my business will break even, that is necessary for you to scale.
Exactly. I mean, you're gonna have to like people ask me that question before too. Have it like it's people that like right now, we was doing payroll and we was like, damn, you know, some of these drivers is making a week what we pay ourselves because I no matter how much money I make, I still pay myself the same amount because that's just, of course, unless it just, you know, it would tank the company. Right. But as long as so far for a while, a year and a half, we've been able to be above that, but we pay ourselves the same. So there's people that's on our payroll that get paid more than us.
Yeah.
Because we only pay ourselves what $1,500 a week or something like that a piece. Well, yeah, we pay ourselves $1,750 a piece.
Yeah.
So it's people that's making like we cutting people $1,800 checks because they out there making that truck that they driving is making us an additional $1,200 or you know some $2,000 or $2,500. You get what I'm saying? So and this is them getting 18 and us making 25. So the business is still making you get what I'm saying money, but it's still like wow, you're gonna have to get out of the ideology of you making the most money.
So look, let's put it in a
that's why you got to scale.
Let's put it in a more specific perspective. People feel like their family and their friends don't support their ideas. They don't feel like they riding or dying with y'all. Y'all should all ride with me. Look at me. Ride with me. I'm of the opinion that you have to earn the support that people give you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to show yourself worthy.
Everybody think that somebody should support them generally. I mean, you should get some type of support. Somebody should support you, but just don't get discouraged if you don't get the support that you think you're gonna get, because you're not gonna get the support that you think you're gonna get, because most people are gonna be bandwagon riders. You're gonna have very few people that really believe in what you're doing until you show them, like he's saying, what it is. Like if I had to wait on people that I knew to come up, I would have never came up. I had to start. Okay, well, so and so ain't gonna help me. I can't depend on the people that I would think would help me. You got to get that out your mind because everything is based off of benefits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People got families to feed, so you can't expect nobody to just stop what they doing, like he's saying, and to help you with no benefit to them. So you got to be willing to maybe potentially pay these people before you get paid.
Yeah, I mean, so they'll support you to death because I understood that earlier on when I was making music in my mom's basement, when I was just a kid and had no job and had no responsibilities, that I need to get to work now. You know, I think a lot of times that we wait late to try to get people to support ideas. When you're in a situation where you have the support, go for the ideas then. Because one thing that I can say is you get the most support when you're in a position to get it. Like you have to position yourself to be able to not only do something, but be able to be in a position for people to help you. If you don't have a lot of time, it's going to be hard to grow a company. It's going to be hard to side hustle and side gigs. And I got all of these responsibilities and just this much time to do it. It's still possible, but statistically, we got to look at the numbers, even on the time that we invest in certain things. So, people rationalize that themselves. They say, well, you want to be a musician and you got 4 kids and you got 2 jobs. You don't really have much time to be a musician. How you going to do that, John? Or how you going to do that, Rico? You know what I mean? Or whatever your name is. So it's just like people will rationalize themselves on how much they support you based off their notion of what you're already doing.
Yeah.
They're going to size you up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're just like,
it's just real though.
It's real. It's real. Like, why should we support you when you don't have And then we're going to look at, do you have the means to do what you're doing? Or is your support is kind of like an initial, like the pre-ball role. Like you're only asking me for my support because you want to borrow from me in the future.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you run people away for trying to get them to support you because like, you gonna ask me for money in the future.
Yeah. But also, I mean, but also, bro, I mean, consider this, like respect is earned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, on any given ground, if you don't look at any athlete, everybody's gonna be truthful. All of this stuff is earned.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not like you can't sit back and expect somebody to support you if it's not like your wife or somebody like that. You can't feel salty about it. You can't feel salty about the lack of support that you're gonna receive. Yeah. I'm just telling y'all ahead of time, it's not gonna be what you think it's gonna be. The people are not gonna be there that you think are gonna be there potentially. So you got to be the person that's holding up. You got to be your biggest support. I tend to go to YouTube for motivation. I tend to go to a lot of different avenues for motivation because support is what you're gonna need. But just know that it could come from anywhere. Don't feel like, oh, if my mama's not diehard fan of these cakes or my mama, just think about it. What you selling, you got to think about what you selling and who is your clientele.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put yourself in a box like I see most people do where they create something they can sell to their friends. Yeah. Like the business world is bigger than your neighborhood and your family and the people that you know. So what if, okay, case in point, I don't listen to rap music that much no more. So if my partner's rapping, it's a chance I'm not going to be supporting it because I'm not listening to nobody popping no pills and sipping no lean. I don't give a damn who you are. Yeah. I'm not supporting that because that's not what I'm into. Now, will I share it every now and then? Yeah, but I don't support that because that's not what I stand for. Right. Now, would I invest in it? Maybe, if I seen that they were serious about it and going somewhere. But you got to understand what you selling is what you selling. What somebody really trying to buy, right. What the people that's around you trying to buy. Yeah. So don't get caught up in trying to just only sell to them, but also realize that they might not be interested in what you're selling.
Yeah, almost definitely. I don't think that we too often neglect the support that we do have. Like even on the musicians, like if you got 10 people that love your music, like make your music for those 10 people. The rest will come. Like whatever you're doing. If you own a cake shop, like you said, if you only have 10 people or a customer base of 6 people who love your cakes, that's your base. Mm-hmm. You make the cakes to make them 6 people happy. First and foremost.
Case in point, like right now, our live stream, like we both make a lot of money.
Right. So
to take out of our time to do this, I'm like, as long as one person come to watch it, I'm cool because we building.
Right.
So this is something that we building that's more important. Now you're gonna see that I'm gonna have some loyal, I'm gonna have 10, 15 loyal people that's gonna always come to my lives. It's gonna always. Because most people are gonna be bandwagon riders. They're gonna come when they see it grow. It's kind of like if you post on Facebook, look at life like this. If you post something on Facebook, you gonna have the people that come that like all of your stuff that you say just because it's you. You're gonna have some people that's the after 10 likes club. You know what I'm saying? Where they gonna come if they see it's gaining momentum. And then if it's a big one that everybody's liking, you gonna have people you only see like your stuff if they get a whole lot of attention. Yeah. That's just how people think. That's the reality of it. Don't get caught up in it being like, oh, well, why would you break that down? Like that's the reality. Like it's only 2 things in life, period. I'm gonna be 100% real with y'all. The only association with people, you either associated with somebody in your everyday life because there's a benefit or you related to them.
Yeah.
Simple and plain. There is no other reason for somebody to be in your life every day. You don't have one single person around you, unless it's your kid, that is not beneficial to you or that is not related to you. And it still got to be, even the people related to you got to be of some benefit.
You won't be around long.
Or that person won't be around long. Like we selfish.
Yeah.
We all looking for benefits. And the sooner that we all be honest about us actually looking for benefits, we would start being able to be able to weed out the people that we would be able to decide to choose the right people to be in our life. Some people just taking up space.
Yeah.
Some people don't even deserve to be there. Some people you offering more value to them than they offering to you. And just because they're related. So therefore you got to go start doing you're going to have to, like, it took for me to leave St. Louis for me to see it. You get what I'm saying? I've reached a little bit of success, but once I start to be around and realize that, wow, the people that I don't know, that don't know my past, they give me more support than the people that I grew up with. Yeah. That's just how it's going to be, because some people are going to look at the new you and they're going to believe in the new you, and some people just can't get past who you become. And that's just a thing that you're going to learn with success. If you ain't ready for that, for the backlash or whatever's going to come with it, just stay working your job, because being an entrepreneur and making money, you're going to have people wanting loans. You're going to have everybody coming at you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. Yeah. You know, it's going to be a lot of backlash. It's not going to be sweet like you see on the, like what they selling. I'm going to give it to you raw. I don't care if I only got 10 followers. I don't need the money. I don't need the viewers. I'm going to still get rich regardless. Yeah. I'm doing this strictly from the heart and giving y'all the real of how it is really in life and in business. You know, Amazon just sent me a plaque and sent me the middle finger all in the same day. They cut my routes down. It's still profitable. They act like we wasn't chilling, you know, having our conferences, because they no longer need me as much as they did in December. We did 400,000 with them, 450,000 with them last month. This month they're like, okay, well, it's only probably gonna be 100,000 worth of work. You know what I'm saying? But we gonna act like we don't know you until they're gonna kiss ass when they need me, just like anybody else. Yeah. You know, is when they need you, it's like this. But when they don't need you, you know, so just the sooner we can all come to that understanding of life, you know, and the way it really is, you know, me and Daryl will always rock because we can always offer each other benefit. Yeah. Period. Yeah. When he's been showing me how to do hustles ever since we've been young, it's always been value. We have different perspectives. So even if it's somebody, I'm not saying somebody has to offer you money as in value to be around. I'm saying bring something to the table. If you don't got money, can you help me? If when I pull up in the car and the groceries outside, can you help me bring the groceries in? Can you be an asset to make my life easier? It's not all about money. It's about effort. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So which is the same thing. Is value pieces ain't always money. Somebody might have the know-how but not have the money.
We want the things in the service more than we want the money.
Exactly.
We spend money on the services and the things.
Exactly.
So if we could provide each other the skills, then, you know, I'd much rather have that, because I got a gang of money I'm trying to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want any, because the thing is, money is just energy. Energy is just, if you got a bunch of energy just sitting around not doing nothing, money is like an employee to me. It need to be doing something. It need to be doing something for me. It need to be at work for me. So it's just like, and especially with the dollar being devalued, because look, these stimulus checks are coming from somewhere. We only pay about $1.2 trillion in taxes every year. We've spent more than that in stimulus, double that in stimulus. Where is this money coming from? Get rid of it. It's energy. So we have to take that energy and we have to invest that energy into something for a better return, because we don't know what the future like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is what this live stream is about. It's about preparing yourself from the future and be able to create them safeguards where we're going to be needed. Because like he said, the world is selfish. They don't care about us. The moment, look, what happens to us when we get old, right? Look at people who work at Walmart who are like old, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're so quick to push you out the door. Like, you know what I mean? Like the older you get, you're less productive. Mm-hmm. You're less strong.
You're less beneficial.
You're less beneficial. So we much rather put you in a home somewhere and forget about you. That's why this country doesn't care for older people. Like we much rather, you know, replace you with somebody.
Of course,
older, younger, productive.
You're right, because the younger person is gonna come with new ideas, and older people be harder to change. Of course, so of course I'm gonna get rid of older people.
Yeah, you know? So that's why I'm so hell bent on like working out, like, you know, because I'm trying to use this energy to be as productive as I can for as long as I can.
Because when you lose productivity, you lose value.
Yeah,
like the people in the circles that we are, like we only can be in the same circle because we provide the same amount of value.
Right.
We see each other as valuable as, you know, as one another. So you have to get around people that see you as valuable as you see them. Mm-hmm. It's like you got to get around people is what I call speak the same language. Yeah. You know, as you start to level up, your language is going to change, you know, in the way that you speak and what's important to you is going to change. So, you know, we can't just be basing everything off emotion. Like business is a real thing. Life is a real thing. And I just feel like coming as I tell everybody as an entrepreneur, I'm trying to slap you in the face a little bit so you can, I want you to do it, but I want you to realize that it comes at a cost. You know, making 6, 7, 8, 9 figures all of that's billions of dollars, these people were going through great scrutiny.
Yeah.
Think about it. People don't talk about losers. They only talk about winners. They try to figure out, you got to be doing something bad if you're winning. You can't possibly be a good person. You can't possibly be, you know what I'm saying, be this and doing that. And it's, you know, you start to see the holes
and that's
try
sick.
to get poked.
I think that's sick too, because people don't understand what it takes to really make it in business. Or
Until it doesn't matter until it matters to you. Once you get in that position, you won't understand. Like as a business owner, I regret being a shit employee because I got a lot of shit employee. Well, not now. A lot of people quit. And or I got fired. You know what I'm saying? I just cut your hours and then you will figure it out, you know. But because people are who I used to be, you know what I'm saying? They come and trying to get the most out of it
for the least amount of work.
And the thing is, that's costly to a business, but you will go in there doing that because I had never had employees before. Yeah. If I was to go back to a job again, I would be the hardest working person in there because I understand that you can be replaced easily. You know, because especially like he said, especially with the workforce now. But I say, if you're going to work a job, I would close out with this for me. If you're going to work a job, get a job in the field that you actually interested in starting a business in. So therefore, you now have a job where you actually able to use the information that you're getting to actually go start your company. So it's like you get in the training, you get to go in there and see the system they got set up and everything. You know, I mean, that's how I would take it. Because my business that I made that did 3.5 last year was strictly based off what I had already been doing. Right. You know, so it was easy. And I delivered to the post office still to this day. The last 4 years I've been delivering to the post offices, and sometimes the same post office that I used to be working at. I came back to my old job as an owner, as a person that's delivering, because they gave me the game to do what I needed to do. I was able to understand that because of my experience. So I would say, go take a job. If you want to be a promoter, go take a job as a promoter. Don't go take a job doing something that you don't even want to do. That's when I feel like a job is counterproductive, when it's something that you're not even in the industry that you're even interested in. You know, so I would say, if you're going to work a job, you know, do that. Find that industry and try to burrow your way into that industry so you can get the knowledge. Because the money is a little bit. I got a couple $100,000. I'm trying to figure out what to do with now. I need more know-how. I need more ideas. You know, I already got the restaurant open up. I need somewhere to put this money at. So even having the money, I still need a vehicle. I need somebody with an idea for me to invest in that makes sense. Somebody to come with a business plan. Yeah. Because I don't have enough know-how to go put that money somewhere else. So the know-how, even with money, is still the most important.
I think my last thing would be, even though you're starting at the bottom, start your ideas at the top. Because everything that we're recording on, this is somebody's ideas. This paper is somebody's idea. Everything created is somebody's
MacBook,
idea.
Camera.
And you know, like when people run out of ideas, when they have all the money in the world, they know what they're looking for? Other ideas.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, creativity is going to run dry. You're going to have to attach yourself to another creative to be able to feed off the energy to be able to keep going.
Because you're only going to be able to do so much yourself.
Because look, people at the top always steal culture from the bottom.
Yeah.
Because you have to be resourceful at the bottom.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because the bottom is where the best ideas is at. Because you ain't got all you got is time.
That's all you have is time.
You know what
I'm saying?
The time to create, and it's a lot of ideas that people are not using down there.
Yeah.
You know?
So those are just my last words. I mean, I just feel like we went to church.
Yeah,
today. Like,
yeah. I mean, it went in a different direction, but I feel it was more authentic for us to really break it down. I'm expecting questions in my inbox, and people to give us something more to pivot, because we already successful. So if y'all could give us the questions, we could build a better life the next time, to where we can attack the issues that are actually at hand. Because I'm not too disconnected, but I haven't worked a job in some years now. So I don't, like you said, like, I don't know what the market looks like out there. So I want to open the floor for questions. Any more questions before we shut it down?
Yeah, if y'all have any questions, even on the IG, y'all let me know. And we're just trying to
IG, Facebook, YouTube.
And
we live
also,
in about
also
5 different places. So.
Yeah, all 5 different, definitely. And then also, if you guys have any good ideas, we're always looking to invest in great ideas. You know what I mean? So hit us with something that you guys have. And
you see any questions on there?
All right. So I guess we can wrap it up. We have no questions. but I feel like it was lit. You know, we gave two different perspectives, and I learned a lot. You know, and I'm always learning. I'm always learning from you. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
talk. We had these
Two
conversations.
completely different perspectives
Two different
on
completely,
everything.
because you know certain things that I just never thought of that I just need to incorporate. So I'm gonna take out value from this conversation and incorporate them in my daily life. So
All right, so we got a question here from Facebook. Angel Smith is asking, is saying that I am interested in being a new business owner. What would be my first steps? The first steps would be, I would
we're
say,
gonna do a podcast.
yeah. What I first you got to figure out what is the business. You know, so a couple of qualifying questions. Who is your customer?
Mm-hmm.
If you, how much does it? The two things you need to figure out about your business is how much does it cost to make the product or to do the service that you're selling, and who is your clientele base? Because you got to have a niche. Anybody that's trying to sell to everybody won't sell to anybody. Yeah. Keep that in mind. So you have to have a market of who. Think of the market of who you're trying to sell to.
Okay.
You know, that's my take on it. What you think first steps?
I think that you should start with something that you know that you're good at. Like if I can make scarves or I can cook food. You know what I always, when we go back to St. Louis, I'm always surprised that people are selling plates, but they're not doing to the extent of that they need to.
That they could do.
That they could do.
You got Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, we got all these lines of communications and everybody know how to cook. I would much rather do that because I trust the people. I'd much rather shop with, for my people to eat food than anywhere. I'll pull up on y'all. I like y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Rather than go to McDonald's. And so we're just like, it could even be simple things because sometimes you got to fish around. Mm-hmm. Like if I've been working a job in a specific area and I don't really have skills in other things, but I have all these other side skills that are like what I call like mandatory skills, like cooking and cleaning. Mm-hmm. We know that people can do that. So we're just like sometimes just kind of fish around for mandatory things that you can make money with fast.
Yeah.
So, because like you got to think about it, like if 10 plates times 10, you know what I mean, like $10, and you can make $100, and you could do that in 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Now, if you invested 8 hours in it, $300 a day is $107,000, $106,000 a year. You know, let's say your overhead is $30,000. You know, $70,000 net is a good business to me, and that's selling plates.
Hey, man, you can get rich. There's people getting rich selling water.
Yeah.
Look, I buy water, and water come out the faucet, and I just paid $5,000 for a filtration system, and I'm still buying water.
Yeah. So interior design, is a great business.
Very, very, very good business.
Because people stuck at home.
Yeah.
You know, people stuck at home. They want to be creative. When you stuck at home and you got all the time in the world, you trying to redo. Look, he just moved into a space, an office space, and he's looking for a designer now.
Yeah.
He's in need of your service.
So I actually need the services right now. Yeah. You know, right now I need services on trying to decorate this place. I got 1,200 square feet of office space that I'm trying to fill it in, you know, to do actually classes. We want to do actually like more than just virtual. We actually want to bring some folks in and you know, and really get to writing on the whiteboard so I can show y'all really how we really think. So interior design, Angel, is a very good business because I like it because it's a service business. It doesn't require a lot of money. It literally requires you the know-how. Yeah. If I was you, I would go take on a lot of I would go take on some free work or some cheap work in the beginning, because with interior design, I like that because it's something that you can show. It's something that we can see. Like you can sell me if you go do 5 projects and you take pictures and this is your work. Now I know what I'm buying. Yeah. You able to sell me because I can see what you're doing. That's why I like service and creative things like that, because you can post it on Instagram like just like a barber.
Yeah, especially like me, right? I got almost 14,000 people on my Instagram, right? Like 50,000 on my Facebook, all of these thousands of people everywhere, mm-hmm. right? I'm into helping men develop their style, not just style with the clothes, but style in, you know, being presentable.
Yeah, as me, you know, I need help.
Yeah, but just being more organized, right? And organization starts with at home. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you were to come over and design my place or you know, his office space, it's like, and we get the chance to post to other men, then you just created a lane.
Yeah, you just created a lane.
Because guys don't know how to design, like, you know what I mean? But what we have rifts in relationships where if people are not marrying as much, guys, mm-hmm. we have to learn how to wash dishes. We have to learn how to pick out couches.
That's a whole nother topic, though.
We have to learn how to do certain things. You know
hey, I like to go in on that, though.
Yeah, so it's like we need you, like, you know what I mean? So It's super
So
dope.
for the single guys, they definitely gonna need Angel to come in there interior design.
Yeah, straight up.
You know. So
yeah, it's very,
so
very
that's I mean
important.
that's a good lane. So just figure out who your clientele is. Is it men? Is it is it rich people? Is it a certain is it a certain tax bracket you want to be in so you can make more money? Just ask yourself. The main thing to figure out is the cost of doing your service, the time that it's gonna take, and who is your clientele. If you clear on who your clientele is, you know what your price point is.
Yeah.
If you're not selling to the if you're not selling to the hood, like something that the hood will buy, don't be expecting nobody to do, don't go on King's Highway expecting to get no sales of interior design. I mean, people ain't really into that for real. You might find a few sales,
My
but
dad probably gonna be the old person shop.
So you got to kind of go where it's kind of like selling ice cream in the desert. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna pop with the ice cream in the desert because it's hot.
Yeah, because the right place will value you the right way.
Exactly. But if you try to sell ice cream somewhere where it's cold, not saying nobody gonna buy it, but it's just, I think y'all get the point of what I'm saying. Though.
I think to come up with a price point is you just ask for a number and see if people like it.
Yeah.
And see if people shop with it. Because all I did that because I was just like, all right, cool, give me 1,000. And they'd be like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times they don't understand it.
Right.
So it's just like you gotta just ask. You know what I mean?
Hey, do what Darrow do though. He taught me something very valuable. If you don't want to do a job, charge a ridiculous amount of price. So at least if you end up doing the job, you would feel good because you charge them triple the price to do it.
Yeah.
So
more than what you want to do.
Yeah. So that's how you do too. Business offices, I'm thinking too. Hey, people moving it. A lot of people moving out of the offices for a pandemic, but some people moving in. I got my reasons. Home is great, but I need my peace and quiet. So I'm pretty sure I'm not the only entrepreneur that needs that. So we're gonna close this out. Y'all, thanks for having us. Thanks y'all for watching. And we'll see y'all again. Hit us up in the inbox, for whatever questions y'all got, or anybody else that's gonna watch it later or whatnot, so we can, kind of guide us in the direction of what y'all really need from us next time.
All right now.
All right, peace.